what is this like? What is white identity, and why do you think white identity is important and meaningful?
Well, identity is, to me, a recognition that a white person is part of a distinctive group. One, I believe, of the great weaknesses of the United States is this sense of excessive individuality that our society has cultivated. We're not individuals, we're not islands. I felt as though I was one and was rather happy to be an island when I was younger. I was perfectly happy to think in terms of what makes me happy. What do I want? Rather than what is good for the larger society, the larger collective. And whites will have or should have a racial identity in any multiracial society because every other group has a very firm and clear racial identity. And blacks, Hispanics, and even Asians these days, they are utterly unhesitant to advance their interests at the expense of whites if need be. And so for whites not to have a collective sense of identity is unilateral disarmament in a dangerous age. That to me is obvious. It's so clear. And yet, of course, whites are denied what every other group takes for granted, namely a collective identity and legitimate group interests that they are encouraged, expected to pursue. This is denied to whites. Ultimately, that is a suicidal double standard. So it's a matter of survival. But then, aside from that, if it were possible to reestablish something like a European ethnostate, a sense of being part of the group is essential for a society to function properly. I should have understood this as a child because I grew up in a society in which there is a vivid sense of being part of the group. At that time, I looked down on it as a kind of conformity, a lack of individualism. And I think the Japanese are guilty of that to some degree. But you have to have a sense of fellow feeling, a sense of solidarity with your fellow citizens in order for society to function properly. We talk often about high trust societies. Well, high trust, I wouldn't have understood this as a teenager, even as a man of 20 or 25. But high trust is so important to building a society that works. And we see the consequences of lack of trust in the way our cities are turning into these absolute hellscapes of total, aggressive, vicious individualism. In any case, so it's important for two reasons. One is to have a sense of being part of something larger than yourself, and also in any multiracial society, a sense of racial identity is essential simply to defend against the aggressive expressions of racial identity that we are confronted with every day.